Hey, what's going on, you guys? It's your boy Three Stacks in this thing, baby, and I'm gonna be updating one of one of my favorite troll decks, man. It's Phantasm Spirals. I really like the deck. Whenever I upload it on my channel, it doesn't really get love at all, but I don't care. I love this deck, and I'm gonna give it the love that it deserves. It's an awesome archetype, and I really like its flexibility because there's so many different ways that you can play it. You could do a hero build, you could do a beast warrior build, you could do a dino build. I love the Zombino variant. Like there's nobody playing the Zombino. I just felt like Zombino was the most broken normal monster in the game. But the current build that I'm playing right now is actually just a water build. It's not like catered to any specific types. I have Megalo Smasher, because he's just an amazing normal monster. But yeah, you guys, I'm going to hop into the build. I just want to share one quick thing with you. The arsenal and the way the deck plays, it's basically vanilla beatdown. It's very similar to what you can refer to as Go format, but it's not exactly the same. So it's a really fun deck, and there's a lot of ways that you can kind of just basically creep into the meta with this deck. And if you guys would like to play it, it's very cheap, it's very affordable. But with that out the way, let's hop into the list. So starting off with our monsters, we play 2 copies of Megalo Smasher X. I am missing my third one. This is pretty much the main normal summon of the deck. It's the only normal summon. And I only have 2, and it really sucks. It makes me sad that I only have 2. I would play 3, trust me, I really would. And I also played 2 Phantasm Spiral Dragon, the Big Daddy. I originally always played 1, but it kept coming up where I realized that you can do a quicker OTK when you play 2, because the equip spells, you're actually able to, when you do your full combo, you search one equip spell on your opponent's turn off the field spell, and then you use it, right? Once you resolve it, you summon the Big Daddy, and then the field spell triggers because you summon a normal monster. You basically search another equip, and then you can do your Phantasm Spiral Power Trap, banish it from grave, take that equip from your hand and equip it to the Big Daddy in the battle phase, and then swing with the Big Daddy, get the effect of that one, and summon the other one, and then that's game. It's just really broken. So that's the main reason why I'm playing 2 now, you guys. And then also the risk of banishing the only copy of it off of Desires. I wanted to mitigate that issue. And at the same time, I don't want to play 3 of it, but I at least need 1 so that I can do the pressure. Because you can still do the OTK if you just have a Megalo Smasher and your token that you get off the field spell. You can just do the OTK because the equip spell gives this 25, so that's an extra 5. It's gonna give the token the extra 5. That's the extra 1,000. The equip spell burns for 1,000, so that's 2,000. So then you have 2,000, and then that's 2. That's 4,000. The token's a 2K beater. That's 6,000. This guy's 29. You do the math. That's 89. So it's still game. These are the only monsters that you play. That I play. I find that this is all you need, and because I'm playing the water build, it's very important that your attributes match. That's it for the monsters. Now for our spells, we play triple Pacifist the Phantasm City. This card is amazing, you guys. I really love this field spell a lot. It plays itself. You guys. This field spell plays itself, brother. I don't like autopilot, but I really love this card, bro. I really love this card. It's an amazing card. It plays itself. Your opponent has to play around this card. This card is such a problem for anybody who's playing against this deck. This is a very, very huge problem because not only do they have to play around it, but it makes them play more cautiously. And sometimes that works in your favor because they start making mistakes. They start playing less aggressive, and more conservative. And sometimes, you'll have them on check with the Heat Wave. When you have them on check with Heat Wave, they really have very limited options, being that they can basically just play spells and traps. And they have to really think, do they want to actually play any of their starter cards and give you that advantage that you need? Because you could search the trap that just pops their monster. Their field's wide open. You can just kill them. So this field spell is just broken. It's not once per turn. It's a token generator. It's the main way that you can pretty much maintain your field presence. It's a great way to also maintain your resources and keep your hand filled. It's kind of how you can out-resource your opponent as well. Or if they're a fast-paced player, you can keep up with them because the field spell is not once per turn. It's broken. Every time you summon a normal, you get to search a Phantasm Spiral card. And then also, if your opponent activates any card or effect, you special a token. It's a level 8 and it's a worm type. That's very important because it's the same attribute as your Big Daddy and it's the same type. So your Gozen and your Rivalry do not conflict with each other, which is really good. So field spell is amazing. It's only once per copy, but not hard once per turn, like a diagram. Then we have triple Fossil Dig. It's very important because my monster count is very short. It's very little, and it's very important for me to see Megalo Smasher sometimes because that damage matters. You're able to control the board very easily with this deck. It's very easy to keep the field open, but if you don't have monsters to attack your opponent, it's just you're one for winning and you're negging with them, and you're not really getting anywhere. So the triple fossil deck, I'm going to have 3 Megalo Smashers very, very soon, you guys. But also, even if you don't draw into these, the amazing thing is the field spell gives you a free 2,000 beater, which is very important. And like I said, it's the main way how you maintain your field presence. I'm also playing 3 shared rides in the main deck. Now, the reason why I'm playing the 3 shared rides is because currently, as things stand, the meta has not changed at all. I know Konami thought that they did something with the ban list, but the meta is still the same. I don't know why people are talking about new format. It's still Goki, Spiral, Trick Stars. I'm sorry, not Spiral. It's still Goki, Sky Striker, Trick Stars. The only difference is Ultra Guys got a little bit better because, Goblin's gone. It's easier for you to play through boards that can be targeted now. But nonetheless, pretty much all the best decks are still searching a lot. They're still drawing a lot. Shared Ride just helps this deck out a lot because it allows you to play at their tempo, play at their speed, because you are playing a normal deck. So, and also while people might think this deck is not fast, it's an honest mistake. If you guys know how this deck works, for those of you who are Phantasm Spiral players, you do understand that this deck is not slow by any stretch of the imagination, in spite of what others might think. But the shared ride just allows you to keep your resources on par with those of your opponents, because some decks are a lot more consistent than yours, especially considering Gokis. Once they go off with their combo, your shared ride becomes like a maxi. And if they really want to take the ride with you, the unfortunate thing is you're going to be searching disruptions for them. So you're going to be able to 1-for-1 them for every card and match them card for card. And as you're matching them card for card, they're actually losing because you're gaining more resources than them. You're plussing off of this, and then you can still get more resources off your field spell. So shared ride is just a bombshell in this kind of deck. I also play triple card to demise. As you can clearly see, I only play 4 monsters. The chances of actually drawing them are so minuscule because my deck is not 40 cards. It's more than 40 cards. We also play triple duality. You're not special summoning turn 1. It's actually impossible for this deck, so you don't have to worry about the drawback. I also play 2 pots of desires. Desires is just necessary. While draw power is nice, what's more important than draw power is +1. So cards like Demise, cards like Desires, and cards like Shared Ride are just incredible. They're needed to raise the ceiling of your deck, like I said, to allow you to keep up with some of the better meta decks, which have a lot more afforded to their arsenal. They have a lot of better starter cards. Trick Stars, Sky Strikers, and Gokis all have insane starter cards. This deck has some pretty powerful starter cards as well, but in comparison to some of those decks, some people would say that it's subpar. I think that the deck is still really incredible. I think it's very consistent, and it's able to maintain its resources very, very well. And it just kind of has this tempo switch button, which is like an on and off thing. Like if you want to play aggressive, the deck gives you the resources to do that. If you want to be conservative, that's one of the best ways to go because you can easily outlast your opponent. And then we have 2 Optimus Prime. It's at 2. The ban list hit it. Doesn't really make a difference because we have Metaverse as well. And then one of the win conditions of my deck is triple Heat Wave. Heat Wave is insane. This card actually literally just says your opponent cannot play the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! I mean, brother, unless you're playing not even Dark Magicians, because there's summoning Rod and stuff like that. I guess unless you're playing Phantasm Spirals, like unless it's a mirror match, there's not very much you can do. Sure, you can do Hornet Drones and summon that normal token, but are you going into Kagari? No. Are you going to do anything else with that token? No. Each player can only normal or special summon non-effect monsters, and that's normals included. So basically, I'm the only one who's getting a field presence at this time. My field spell can still generate my tokens. I can still get the Trident card so I can pop the monster, because all you're going to do is set and set and set and set. If you open up with Heat Wave and Shared Ride, it's amazing because now you're stopping your opponent effectively from doing anything. Not only do they not get to summon any monsters, but if they want to play their engages, for Gokis, it's a little different. They actually just pass. There's nothing they can actually do. They don't have the same starters as Sky Strikers, but for Trick Stars and Sky Strikers, they can do their engages and stuff like that. You flip the Shared Ride. If they actually want to take the ride, you're actually just going to win because your field spell is going to get you the card to pop their monster. And you're also going to be searching out more disruption. You're going to draw. Your shared ride draws into your Phantasm Spiral traps. You can play them from hand. Continue disrupting your opponent. Shared ride plus multiple combinations. If you just pair shared ride with a lot of the cards in the deck, it's just so broken. That's why I play 3 shared ride. So Heat Wave is a win condition. Heat Wave, shared ride, you're guaranteed to win the duel. And for other win conditions of the deck, we have the equip spells. These are what summon your Big Daddy from your deck, hand deck, or grave. They also allow you to distribute more damage just in general. So the deck's not lacking in its damage output. You're actually able to put out 89 damage, like I said. And if you only have the token, the field spell generator, like for example, if you have Gozen in Rivalry, you can't have Megalo Smasher because he's a dinosaur. The token is a worm type, but your Big Daddy's a worm type. The token's a water attribute, but your Big Daddy's a water attribute. So if you only have your field spell, you can just special the token off of it, search your equip, play the equip on the token, you know, do the combo, hit your opponent, special Big Daddy, re-equip that equip spell to him, trigger your field spell's effect to search because you summon a normal monster, search the other equip, banish your Phantasm Spiral from grave, play that equip from your hand to him during your battle phase, use him, hit another thing, do more damage, and then use that equip to special the second Big Daddy, and then you've got game. That's, like I said, that's why I play 2 Big Daddies. So the equips are a win condition, Heat Wave's a win condition, you know, Demise is pretty much like a win condition as well. You've got your shared ride, and in addition to that, your other win condition is the field spell. It really is. It's amazing. So deck has a lot of resources, you know, all your spells, minus, you know, maybe just the equips and the Heat Wave, all of them generate card advantage, which is really good. You have a lot of card advantage of Fortitude. That's why I chose to play more than 40, because the deck is really, really consistent. It really is. It only +1s, unfortunately, are going to be, you know, Desires. And the other plus cards are Demise and Shared Ride, which can go way more than +1. And then for our traps, we're going to start off with Metaverse, the most important trap of the deck, getting you to the most important card of the deck, which is the Field Spell. The Field Spell is the pure engine of the deck. Like I said, it plays itself. Because your opponent has to activate cards or effect. That's unfortunately true about the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And if your opponent activates a card or effect, you get to search, which is really good. And you get to summon a monster. Then we have the Phantasm Spiral traps. I personally play 3 of each. I think that these traps are ridiculously good. They are what I call a beneficial recrutement. And these are searchable, and they're not once per turn. And they're traps that you can play from your hand, so they're legitimate hand traps. This is the impermanence of the deck. This is the Dryden of the deck. I like them because there are certain situations that call for each one of them. Sometimes some are better. You know, for example, when you Heat Wave, this is better because this negates monster effects, but if you Heat Wave your opponent, what effects are you going to negate? Like the face down set, you know, Super X? No, can't do that. So Spiral's Battle's really good, and Power's really good as well. Power's, if you don't open up with Heat Wave, Power's normally going to be, you know, your go-to. Unless you're playing Sky Strikers, you want the Spiral Battle for the multi-roll. Pop the multi-roll. You don't have to worry about them out-resourcing you. So, like I said, Impermanence, Dryden, and they have good value in Grave because you can banish these cards from Grave to work with your equips. This one lets you play any of your equips from your graveyard or your hand to any normal monster. This one transitions the equips that you have to a different normal monster. So when you banish this from Grave, for example, if you have Big Daddy equip, you can take the equips on him and move him to another normal monster. That just helps so that you can get more damage because the equips boost attack, and you know you can resolve them to summon another Big Daddy. So either way, these traps not only basically, you know, grind with your opponent and kind of just disrupt what they're doing, but they give you a follow-up so that you can OTK, which is really good. Incredible cards. And then the actual impermanence as well. You know, you're playing Demise. The only hand traps you can really get away with in this deck are actually going to be Winter Cherries and this card itself. You can't do Ghost Ogre because your normal has to be a normal monster. If you control effect monsters, you can't really play some of your best cards. So Impermanence and Winter Cherries, I recommend those if you really want to play hand traps. Those are the only ones you can play in a deck like this. In Dracos, you can obviously still play Ghost Ogre if you really want to. Then we have Triple Solemn Strike. Very similar to Shared Ride, it's just a fine wine. You can pair it with a lot of different cards, and it's just amazing, you guys. It really is. Especially if you want your Shared Ride to resolve, if they try to Ash Blossom it, you Solemn Strike the Ash Blossom, brother, you're taking them for a ride, and they're paying for the gas. It's really good. So Strike, you know, Strike plus a lot of things. You can even break the U-Link board now more than ever just because of strike, and because the cards can be targeted, you can easily just impermanence. You know, for example, if you flip something like let's say Rivalry or Gozen, and your opponent chains the Trigate, you can either strike it or you can chain Power to negate him. And either way, you're going to be able to break the board even more. And you can even bait them. Like if you don't have a Floodgate like that, you can flip Battle. They try to negate it, you chain Power, and you basically just get to out things, which is really good. Triple Rivalry. It only sometimes conflicts with the the Megalo Smasher, but also at the same time, like once I flip this, you know, I know when to flip it at the right time. And if I flip it when it's at a point where I have Megalo Smasher and my token, the cool thing is I get to keep my token by default because tokens can't go to the grave. And that's actually what I prefer to keep anyways because it is a level 8. It's a worm type. You know, it has so much more synergy. And the Megalo Smasher as well, you know, you can always search out another one and normal summon him. With the token, you can only, you know, control that one token because that's how the field spell works. We also have triple Gozen Match, which is actually, you know, sometimes a lot better than Rivalry. But, you know, these are really the best Floodgates of the format. And I like that my deck can actually play them very comfortably. It doesn't really hurt. And Gozen is the easiest one to play through because my deck's water. You know, it's a water deck. And, of course, we got the Skill Drain, the God card. You know, this is another win condition. I love this deck also because it has a lot of win conditions, you guys. It really does. You know, you've got all the negations. You've got the powers for negate, you got the impermanence for negate, you got the strikes for negate, you got the skill drain for negate, you've got your floodgates, you've got your searchable out, you've got your Trident, pop any cards that are in your way. You know, you've got your fill spells to search everything out. You've got all of your spells to start the engine up for you. It's a really awesome deck. It's so awesome that you don't need an extra deck. Because I'm not playing Scapegoat in this build. My other list, I did play Scapegoat, but it's different now because I'm obviously playing Gozen and Rivalry, and I can't really play Scapegoat under those. And also, in addition to that, I'm focusing more on my field spell than ever. My field spell summons monsters on my opponent's turn, so obviously that conflicts with Scapegoat as well. So ultimately, because I don't play Scapegoats, I really don't play an extra deck anymore because Scapegoat was naturally the only way I would go into the extra deck. You can occasionally go Link Spider, Special, and Megalo Smasher, and then, you know, normal, but even then, it's just... it doesn't even come up that often. And, you know, if you want to play an extra deck, the only mandatory extra deck staple would just be Link Spider for me, personally. Because Link Spider just lets you OTK easier. But other than that, you can just play 15 Winter Cherry targets. If you want to, you can play Pot of Indulgence. But I think that restricting yourself from being able to, you know, add any other cards, that's like a major drawback. Because this deck has a lot of draw power. It has a lot of search cards. You know, I don't think Indulgence is going to be ideal for this deck. But if you want to try it, by all means, try it. I'm never one to tell somebody how to play their deck because it's your deck, you know. Who am I to tell you how to play your cards? But thank you guys again. Here are some techs that you could try. You could try the Rage of Recursion. You can also try triple Stormy Mirror Force. I like it because, you know, it doesn't destroy you guys. It really doesn't. You can also try out triple Torrential Tribute. These are cards that I have played in the past in my other builds. But, you know, I like to change my lists. I like to test different ways to play the deck. I never played Gozen and Rivalry before in the build. These were the 6 cards that I took out for Gozen and Rivalry. These kind of do the same things. They board wipe, but Gozen and Rivalry are kind of more proactive, whereas these cards are reactive. And I like the proactive aspect of it because I can flip it whenever I want, whereas these have a certain trigger, a window, and, you know, this being a win effect and mistiming. So I just kind of just cut these out for the Floodgates. But if you don't like the Floodgates, you just put these in. And you can also try this card out, but I'm not too fond of it right now. You know, it's just personal preference. But God bless you guys. Have a beautiful day. And y'all be safe. Don't do drugs. And you're definitely going to be hearing from me soon. Peace.